Welcome back, my friends, to Lo-Fi Lounge. I'm Chris LeRoy. We got films, we got music, we got interviews, and it all starts right now. Phyllis's work has appeared in numerous journals and anthologies. She was a finalist in the Sweet Poetry Contest 2017, the Carolyn Forche Humanitarian Poetry Contest in 2019, the Fisher Prize in 2019. She's on a roll. She has a new book that I'm going to show here called Full Moon Herald. We're going to get to talk about today. It's a poetic newspaper. It's published by Grayson's Books. She sees writing as an artistic dialogue between author and readers, an intimate relationship building process that fosters healing on many levels. Welcome, Phyllis Klein, to the Lo-Fi Lounge.
Thank you. So glad to be here. Paul Barton is he's a concert pianist, and he lives in Thailand now. He's married to a Thai woman. And one of the things he decided to do, I don't really know how he came to the idea, but he felt that there are some elephant sanctuaries in Thailand for abused elephants. And so he felt that he wanted to apologize to the animals.
Yeah.
And so he figured out a way to put his piano on wheels. I don't know how he gets it there. Maybe they keep it there now, but and they wheel it around onto the grass and dirt, and the elephants roam free. And he sits down at the piano and plays, and they come to the piano, and then they actually, if you watch the video, they actually start swaying to the music. So it's just quite breathtaking and very touching and poignant. So I was drawn to write a poem about it that I call Paul Barton Plays Piano for Elephants. The piano, fountainhead to a congregation of sick, abused, retired elephants. A man's hands skim the keys. Animals stop, listen, flap ears, reach trunks around to sniff aura of the instrument, aspect of the man. Elephants straggling about, free now, shielded. The piano sitting on the dirt in a park, surrounded. Picture it, man playing Bach to a creature large enough to kill him, stomp up his keyboard. The elephant stands transfixed. The man gives bananas at first to make a good impression. It helps them memorize his smell, connect him to the sounds. He walks with a group sometimes, the blind ones. Even if they knew where the piano once got its keys, what would they do? Crush it? This cruel, splendid coincidence, this moonlight sonata under the stars, these behemoths swaying.
Dream time. Tootie-ma is a big fine thing. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Tootie-ma is a big fine thing. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Tootie-ma is a sure is fine. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Tootie-ma is a sure is fine. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Finest gal you ever saw. Did some things against the law. Stole my car right from my mom. But I'm gonna knock on the door. Waits for me on Mardi Gras Day. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Waits for me on Mardi Gras Day. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Some wine. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Tootie-ma is a drink some wine. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Tootie-ma is a sure is fine. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Tootie-ma is a sure is fine. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Tootie-ma went up the ramp looking for some cat to bam. Policeman came, put her right in jail. But I'm gonna go out of bed. Waits for me on Mardi Gras Day. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing. Waits for me on Mardi Gras Day. Ooh-na-nay, swing that thing.
When Greg Eckler passed away on November 15, 2020, he had been a performing Inland Empire musician for almost 6 decades. Mike Stax is the writer, editor, and publisher of Ugly Things magazine. He's also a noted IE music historian. Upon hearing of Eckler's death, he wrote, "I was very sad to learn that Greg passed away this morning. He was a hugely important figure in the Inland Empire music scene in the 60s and the 70s, as a member of the Bush, the Light, and others, before going on to form Psalm 150 and play with Rubicon, Rick Nelson, John and the Night Riders, and others. He was an immensely talented and versatile musician, equally comfortable playing guitar or drums, although he was always best known as a dynamic drummer. Not only that, he was intelligent, personable, sincere, eloquent, a friend to everyone he met. He was deeply spiritual, but also hilariously funny. Greg touched a lot of people's lives with his music and his generous and caring spirit. I'm a better person for having known him. I wish him a peaceful journey. Eckler spoke about his early days in the IE when he said, "I moved from back east to San Bernardino in 1957, and it was the first time that I ever heard a live band in my young life. I attended the National Orange Show. It was a Latino R&B band. I was so taken by the tight rhythm and soul and the smooth bass lines and rhythmic tambourine that I was indelibly stamped." This 1963 photo appeared in the San Bernardino Sun newspaper when Eckler was playing trumpet in the Eisenhower High School band in Rialto. About that same time, Eckler was the drummer for local surf band The Defiance. They played the usual circuit of IE venues, including this 1963 Battle of the Bands. In this competition, one of the groups they were up against was Jim Messina's Jesters. However, both groups lost to the Vicrons. After the Defiance broke up in late 1964, Eckler formed the 1-2-3-4 band the next year. This band would often cross paths with another IE group, the Bush. In May 1965, the Rialto band opened for the Rolling Stones at the Swing Auditorium and already had a single that charted locally. In 1966, Eckler was asked to join the Bush as a singer, guitarist, and drummer. Greg arrived in time to earn a writing credit on the Bush's third single, Who Killed the Ice Cream Man? But by 1967, the days of the Bush were coming to an end, and Eckler was ready to move on to his next band. In June 1967, on a whim, Greg and his friends went to the Monterey International Pop Festival in Northern California. The All-Star Concert was one of the landmark music events of the late 1960s. Greg and his friends made it in time for the third night, which featured the American debut of the Jimi Hendrix Experience. Eckler and his friends worked their way up to the third row by the time the Experience's set started. At the climax of Hendrix's set, he set his guitar on fire and smashed it to bits. He then threw the pieces to the dazed audience. Eckler was in the right place at the right time and caught the biggest piece of Hendrix's guitar. Greg managed to escape with his piece of rock history and his life. For many years, the rock and roll artifact was kept in a closet in Eckler's parents' home. In 1993, the 25th anniversary of the Monterey Pop Festival, Eckler decided to auction off the guitar remnant to the highest bidder. The winning bid was $8,800. The guitar is now on display in the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle, Washington. After his sojourn to Monterey, Eckler returned to continue playing with his next group, The Light. The band included singer Steve Horde from the Bush, bassist singer Pete Sampson from the Northside Moss, and lead guitarist Bob Englund. In the fall of 1967, The Light released a single on A&M Records that received local airplay on radio stations KMEN and KFXM. Late 1967 saw the addition of another lead guitarist, Joe Casados, from the Colton band The Peasants. By early 1968, The Light's career began to dim, and Eckler joined a succession of bands including White Pepper and The Tick. Formed in early 1970, Big Lung and the Breathers was his next band. In addition to Eckler, the group was made up of 3 former members of Colton band The Premiers. They were Angie Ibarra on keyboards and cousins Bobby and James Felix on bass and lead guitar respectively. The band also went under the name Cock Robin. By 1971, Greg reached a crossroads in his life and decided to take a new direction with his music. But more about that in part 2.
everyone, and welcome to Brown Box. This is an offshoot of Dylan Box. If you notice, there's nothing written on the box, hence Brown Box.
Good title.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm Ryan, and
I'm Chris.
And the gist of this show is we're each going to kind of turn each other on to some music that we in our own personal collections that the other person either may not be so familiar with or may not be so hip to. So that's just really quick, kind of just what we're looking at.
Okay.
You want to go first, or?
No, let's have you go first.
All right, so let me pick out my pick here. So we have, okay, one of my other favorite Bobs. This is a record by Mr. Bob Pollard and his band, Guided by Voices. This album is Alien Lanes, and this is the 25th year.
Oh.
Bob Pollard is a former elementary school teacher who was weekends. He was a rock and roll guy. He's recorded thousands of songs and never really thought of becoming a full-time musician until around the time of this record, a little before this record.
Oh, okay.
And then that's when, and he's been playing music ever since with either like this band or 20 other bands that he does. Okay. So with different people. I discovered this maybe about 20 years ago. I love it because it reminds me of side 2 of Abbey Road, where all the songs just kind of flow together. It's just one after the other. It's about 27 songs, and I think maybe in about a little less than 40 minutes. So, I mean, you're getting like a lot of snippets and kind of like ideas.
Resonance territory there.
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, lo-fi. But the great thing to sell you on is the melody. Is this like the way this guy just writes these melodies? It sounds like, I think he said it like Beatles demos. I mean, it's a very like 60s sounding record, and that's what I love about this and a lot of his other albums. It's just it's amazing.
I didn't know his history. I know about Guided by Voices, but I didn't know that he was no more a teacher. There's a lot of good rock and roll teachers.
Absolutely.
And that he sort of just built his song momentum into this as a gig.
It was a guy, and everyone was telling him, like, you're wasting your time with this band thing, and because he was spending money, he was taking out loans from the school credit union to press records, and then they weren't selling. So it was just like, there's a record a couple before this one. It was like the last one, and his manager, on the slide sent it to all these people, and they started calling him up, and then so it just became. It was the right time. Kind of mid '90s is when they kind of got noticed, and then a lot of other bands kind of gravitated towards it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I love it. It's an amazing record.
So you had heard the earlier albums, or you started with this?
I heard the earlier ones. The first one I heard was Isolation Drills, which was a 2000 release, which was incredibly polished. And the album before that one was produced by Rick Ocasek, and that one, as you can imagine, was incredibly polished. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this sounds good to me. Let's go check out some of their other stuff. So I went back to a record before this, some of their EPs, and eventually got to this, and I'm like, is this the same band? Like, is it because it was completely like this the not only the fidelity of it, but like you're hearing like snatches of songs, you're hearing like just different ideas and different styles. But it's all him. It's all it's all like familiar. Yeah. This one, I don't know why. I keep going back to it because it's like, if you're gonna turn someone onto this band, it's not maybe the best record, but if you're a fan of 60s music, if you like the Beatles, if you like stuff like the Kinks, then this record is for you.
There you go.
Definitely.
Guided by Voices. That's a very good brown box recommendation.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Morst. Welcome back to my time machine. I'm fascinated by the nature of the IE scene, which nurtured so many musicians that have gone on to make music I enjoy. Conditionz are a glimpse of the sound of the very teen angst which surely inspired young David Lowery to eventually pen his anthemic cracker song by that name. The subject matter of She's So Suburban is typical guitar, garage, rock, fare, guy trying to get with a girl, but dad doesn't like him. Chris tells me that the Conditionz and the Dangers started just about the same time. They were always around, couldn't shake them. My time machine was rolling in Redlands when the Conditionz played a set at PHYLLIS 12. So here's some audio to take you on a trip back to September 2, 2018 with She's So Suburban.
Thanks. I think we got one more left in us. This is called She's So Suburban. Yeah. Thanks for coming down. Hang around. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, she's so suburban. She's so suburban. Her bed is gone, so I know she's not home tonight. But I rode the bus from downtown to see. Oh, when I call her up at home, her dad hangs up the phone. He doesn't want her to be with guys like me. That she's so suburban. She's so suburban. She's at the town at the social register. They smile as they donate to charity. But when her father's at our club, having a liquid pick me up, her mother has a gardener infantry. Well, she's so suburban. She's so suburban. She's up in there now in her leisure world. The tennis club, it always comes before me. But always in the end, her checkbook's her best friend. And I keep trying to make her see that she's so suburban. 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 We're the Conditionz. Thank you.
Hey, Lo-Fi Loungers, welcome to the XTC box. My name is Ralph Torres. You might recognize me from The Dangers. I'm here with my good friend and bandmate, Chris LeRoy. Hey.
Hey. If you listen to the first two albums, they're very different. If folks go backward, if they bought Drums and Wires and then went back the other way, they hear a much more frenetic, rhythmically challenging, a much more quirky band.
Right.
And sort of keyboard dominated. And I know that they were totally bummed that, I think Barry quit the band, like he takes off, but it made them have to kind of guitaricize themselves, and these new material. There's hints of what could be played on keyboard, but there's weird things that happen, I think, because of it. One, and you love the exuberance of Andy's voice, even from that first song, Making Plans for Nigel. If you listen to that drum beat, very distinctive, and it just has, there's already some energy, something good is going to happen, maybe a little Devo influenced or whatever. And then in between chords and verses, you have Andy's weird, just yelping that's in between, where he just does that little thing. remember listening to it and it's like, what? Yeah, I go, woo. But he does it and it becomes a part of the riff. And it's like in that song, and I know that Virgin deemed that was going to be the single. So I think Andy lamented that about a third of the whole studio time was focused on that single. But it is so, Making Plans for Nigel is so jam-packed with so many ideas that bands would just take one and that would be their song.
See, that turns out to be what Andy did. That was Andy's thing, is that very meticulous arrangement, a lot of stuff going on, and a challenge for producers.
Yeah.
Now the first two records were produced by John Leckie. When they got to Drums and Wires, they asked Virgin first to look into Brian Eno. But Eno said after listening to the demos, he told Virgin, I think they should produce themselves.
Uh-huh.
Of course, the label was like, no.
And
that's that. They settled on Steve Lillywhite.
Yeah.
And they liked his work with Susie and the Banshees and Ultravox. And he turned out to be a very good producer for what Andy had in mind.
Yeah.
I think that was a key thing to the whole overall sound of Drums and Wires, is there was really a good producer there in the chair to bring out what Andy had in mind. Now that the keyboard player was out of the picture. Right. Looking at the other unique thing that Drums and Wires was for me was Andy's lyrics and his subject matter. Certainly, you have the love songs, the discovery of love songs, which turns out to be a theme in a lot of later songs. Mm-hmm. The whole discovery of love and the feelings of love. And anytime he's singing in the first person, the way he describes emotions in his lyrics and his emotions, and so on Drums and Wires, when you're near me, I have difficulty.
Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful.
Concentrating. I have this difficulty respirating.
Right.
And I used to be like, I used to stand tall like a man and, unwaverable. And then I met you and I'm a jellyfish.
Yeah.
There's Andy has there's a lot of youth in this album too, a lot of youthful discovery. But as I've listened to the later albums, Andy was always discovering.
Kevin Day, take it away.
All right. Well, how you doing, Chris? Glad to be here with you. Yeah, we had an interesting meeting with Toots and the Maytals. It's funny how we got the gig too. We had sent a cassette tape. That's how long ago it was. Well, an intern at Toad's Place, which is a legendary club in New Haven, Connecticut. Everybody's played there. In fact, Bob Dylan's played there. The Stones. You name it. I've seen Cracker and Camper Van Beethoven there. So there was an intern had heard our tape, and this one song that we had been playing since the 80s, my friend Mike Tweedy and I wrote. It was kind of quasi-reggae, and so she called me up and asked me if we wanted to open up for Toots and the Maytals. And of course I said, of course, he's a legend, who wouldn't want it? And because she said, well, you guys are reggae, right? And I said, absolutely. So,
right.
So the funny thing was, what we did was we started practicing all of our songs and changed the beat to play the reggae. And so what happened was that we opened up for them 1 year. That was in 1998. And actually, it was about 6 months later, we opened up for them again. And we're sitting at a table. And the Maytals were doing their sound check, and we're sitting there, and someone walked up behind us, and we kind of felt their presence, and we turned around, and it was Toots Hibbert. He's the godfather of reggae. He's the one that coined the phrase reggae music, music for regular people. I know people think reggae, they think Bob Marley, who's of course also an amazing legend himself. But so we were all nervous. We got up, we're like, oh, Toots, how are you? He goes, he said, Giggle Juice. And I remember you from last year. And he made a fist. He touched his heart, and he said, respect. And he gave us a fist pump. And I'll tell you, we were beside ourselves. We were like, oh my God, Toots remembers us. This is it's 22 years ago. This is a long time ago. And we had one of the greatest shows at Toad's Place. I know some of my fellow crumbs have been to Toad's Place in New Haven, like Jim and Sandra Hostetler. They're from Connecticut. They've been there. Julie Bradlow went to Yale. I know she's probably been to Toad's Place. It was quite an experience for us, And it was, like I said, it was amazing because we're not really a reggae band, We're just like, it was one of those things. And I said, oh, of course we're reggae.
That's rock and roll.
It is green, cool beneath our feet. Honey, it's sweet. It's sweet on the bread. The sea and the shore, forever entwined. They all sing the same song. Please come down the coast. Down your good friends, bring down the madmen, old tigers, bring down the young Turks, bring out the seers, the Confederate dreamers, they all sing the same song. Please come down the coast. Josephina, come down and see me sometime. Magdalena, come down and see me sometime. Rosalinda, come down and see me sometime. Come down the coast.
Music. David Lowery's turning out a new solo album January 1st. It's going to be called Leaving Key Member Clause. And Hickman's working on an EP right now. He has a live, Hickmania live on Bandcamp right now, so go check it out. But I would be remiss if I failed to mention that the Dangerous new album, our 12th album, is available today. Pre-order the CD tonight and get the digital version tomorrow morning. Go to thedangers.net. People ask how to support this, the Lo-Fi Lounge. That's going to be for free, but if you want to support the Dangers, that would be pretty cool.
Folks who were never there.
Yeah.
Breaks my heart.
First thing that comes to mind is David Lowery saying, "Hi, I'm Shitty Batman." That's how he opened up. He had a Batman uniform on. And "Hi, I'm Shitty Batman," and it set the pace. It set the tone for the whole night.
I ride my bike, I drive my car, take me to hell. I ride my bike, I drive my car, take me to hell. I ride my bike, I drive my car, take me to hell.
What I liked about the last camp out is certainly I think because it was the last one, there were people who hadn't been in a while who were there. There were people who had never been to a camp out who were there, and that I think there was some concern that, oh gee, it's going to be overrun because there's so many people, but it really didn't have that feeling.
Mm-mm.
It had and certainly for the the diehards, the loyalists among us, it really was something special. It really was, I thought, from beginning to end, the best camp out ever.
Yeah.
Just because I think everyone gave it their all, because nobody knew when a gathering like this was going to happen again, when we were going to see each other again.
Right.
As you say, it was partly about the music, partly about the this group of people, and just this notion of just putting the past in the past and going forward into the the unknown.
Mhm.
And well, all I can say is given the way 2020 has turned out, that turned out to be this absolutely brilliant stroke of foresight.
Song about the rain. Another song about the rain. Another song about the rain. This is the Cracker Duo here.
2, 3, 4. Well, I'm lucky for my fingers, a lucky bed to sleep, lucky thoughts that linger, lucky as I leave. Sometimes I sow my mind to days before we broke in two. But I'm lucky, so lucky for the times I spent with you. Now some folks call it destiny, they can't control our fate. But me, I don't believe that stuff. Then I'm luckier that way. Sometimes I spend my mind to days before we broke into. But I'm lucky, so lucky for the times I spent with you. What more could I ask for? What more could I do? What more could I ask for? I owe so much to you. Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm lucky I'm still dreaming, lucky to have cried, even lucky for the bad luck, just lucky to have tried. Sometimes I turn my mind to days before we broke into. And I'm lucky, so lucky for the times I spend with you, for the times I spend with you. Ooh. We're lucky, lucky, lucky. We're lucky, lucky, lucky. Oh, so lucky, lucky, lucky.
There's no happy ever after. Yeah, we're just trying to survive. Whole lot of trouble, baby. Whole lot of trouble, baby. Whole lot of trouble in this life. You can have your money, that don't guarantee a ride. Whole lot of trouble, baby. Whole lot of trouble, baby. Whole lot of trouble in this life. And the morning sun comes up, and the evening sun goes down. That I could look alive, everyone's dying in this cold, hard town. Some folks think of starting over. They take a lifetime to decide. baby.